And our buddy Seth Everett at a minute and a half past the hour of 8. How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, the Florida Sports Network. How are you, Seth?
Good morning, guys. Thanks for having me on. Thanks for being flexible again.
No problem. Is that your dog in the background?
Yes, it is. He was quiet for the entire morning until right as your intro started.
I know.
It was like you had a mysterious dog call in your intro.
We've done that, Seth, on purpose. We put a whistle in that intro that no one can hear but animals to try to drive, our listeners crazy.
That's why you say Florida Sports Network so goddamn often.
Not like we're trying to brand a new company or anything, Seth.
Seth, I think the reason we say Florida Sports Network is we're both still in shock that we're syndicated. I think that's what we keep saying it, looking at one another like, is this thing really happening?
Especially when David gives that double. Because if you ever notice, the second one is slow, it's methodical.
Right. Yeah. It's emphasizing it. I do that figuring I'm giving you enough time to hit the button and go to alternative programming.
That and the fact he doesn't have a phone number for a call-in yet, Seth.
Yes.
That's really the biggest. That's the regroup that David's had for years. Whenever I say something that's off color and really bothers him, he could just give the phone number out. He doesn't have a phone number right now, Seth, and it kills him.
But the target demo is probably people who don't have buttons on their car. They still have the dial to tune it in.
What are you trying to say about my automobile?
I'm just joking.
Hey, automobile. You got to answer our poll question.
Oh, yeah.
It's a simple one. So what have you used most recently? A check or a stamp?
Oh, a stamp.
Do you recall the last time you written a check?
Oh, yeah. It was like 3 days ago.
Oh, okay. Because I don't know if I've written one this decade.
Oh, no. It's a guy who mows our lawn. We write him a check, and
you pay him by check. And I write checks, but you pay him by check.
That's his request. I don't know.
Oh wow,
he writes a check.
I would think he'd want good hard cash. You're still allowed to pay with cash, aren't you?
I use cash a lot, and every place is like the coins. We have no coins. What are we gonna do? But I use cash. I try to lay off these credit cards.
I didn't say anything.
No paper trail.
I was in line at the grocery store last week, and there was a younger, very attractive 20-something in front of me. And she's getting her stuff, and I'm behind her getting my stuff. And all of a sudden, she pulls out a 20. And she went from like an 8.5, 9 to a 14 when she paid with cash. And I happened to get up pretty quickly, and I'm walking, and I'm not following her, but we were going the same direction. Then she gets in her car, and it's got Grateful Dead stickers on the back. And I'm like, who is this person? You're paying cash, and you're a deadhead. What's going? There's hope in this world, David.
In her 20s,
right?
Although the Apple Pay is pretty awesome. Like to go to Costco and you don't need the card anymore. You can just literally just walk right in, flash the phone. That's in and out. That's tremendous.
I literally forgot my wallet the other day going somewhere. I'm like, oh, do you guys have Apple Pay? Yes, you do. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Yep.
You know what else is pretty awesome? All right. And yes, I'm going here right now. The baseball players and owners are going to talk tomorrow. That's right. They're actually going to look one another in the eye and talk. 6 weeks. They haven't spoken to one another. How about that? What else do they have to do?
Okay. That's great. Wake me. Wake me when it's above 40 degrees.
Hey, it's a big deal to those of us on the West Coast. We got this multi-million-dollar juggernaut called spring training. We'd really like it to happen. Hotel rooms get filled. Restaurants get filled. All right. Ka-ching, ka-ching, cash, Apple Pay. It all happens.
Apple Pay. You think the CBA can get negotiated by Apple Pay?
If there's enough money in it, yes.
Seth, I mean, I will say, you heard David say that. That should be someone that likes baseball should hear that, and it should at least percolate a little bit of a smile. And you were very matter of fact, as you've been, Seth, for 2 years. You're like, whatever.
Yeah, wake me when they make real progress.
What would be real progress to you, Seth? Because they got to start somewhere. There's got to be some negotiation. So tell us what you would quantify as real progress.
Well, just something that is remotely geared towards a settlement and a plan. This is these two sides. It's very different than the negotiations that I covered in the early 2000s. The almost strike of 2002. I was a little young for the 94 strike. I was an intern. But in 2002, they despised each other. They don't hate each other. Tony Clark, Rob Manfred, they don't have issues with each other. They understand each other's positions very, very well. What the union is doing, and I'm traditionally a union person, and they're the only people that talk to me these days. The union wants to keep the status quo as much as they can. And the league is trying to notice that all the positions are changed. The role of the starting pitcher is different. The defensive metrics are different. The stolen base things are different. And thus, the payroll incentives should be different as well. And the union doesn't want to budge on that. The thing that they're interested that interests me is Major League Baseball seems to want to put a fork in the regional sports network. They want to try to bypass the regional sports network and get it so that if you live in Miami, you can watch the Marlins online as opposed to only being able to do it with cable. There's a revenue stream from that, and the union wants a piece of it. So they're saying, wait a second, you want all the new media, but you also want the old media, and or the old ways, and which is it? And that's what this argument is about. It's not a we don't trust you or salary cap or bust. It's not the contentiousness that it used to be. And when I talk to people in the media that cover this on a day in day out basis, and I have turned down 3 separate baseball podcasts because I can't do it. It's like fingernails on a chalkboard right now. But the idea that they're covering this, their editors are telling them, do not write about this because it's putting people to sleep. And in this clickbait world where we live for storylines, Eric Chavez was a big story because they said anything that's not labor. So like I've said, wake me when there's real progress. It's not compelling. It's not gripping. And yes, I root for markets that have spring training, but that's pretty much it.
Well, but Seth, here's what interests me. There may not be, you believe, the angst, if not hatred, that there has been in the past. But the fact is that the players won for 30 years at the negotiating table. 70s, 80s, and 90s, the players kept winning. Beginning in the 2000s, the owners have started to win. And it's actually something that's right there in black and white. Baseball salaries are going down. All right. In none of the major sports are salaries going down. They're going down in baseball while revenues are going up. So they may not hate each other, but there is a staggering divide.
Correct.
Players are looking at the owners going, are you kidding me? There's a fair deal to be made. You keep wanting to roll it back more, which begs the question, which side is going to give in? Because they are very far apart.
But we talked about this. I mean, we've talked about this longer than COVID. I mean, we talked about this in 2018, 2019. Yep. They are philosophically different. And I have said all along, I've often said, I saw 2 crises facing this sport. It's the 2021 negotiation and the 30-year effect of where the sport is in 30 years. The 2 aspects of this, it's not remotely close. The fact that they are talking is literally it didn't even move my needle. It didn't do anything. Let's see what happens because first both sides leak everything. So the minute there's real progress, we'll know. And then you can start to have what you said, like the glimmer of hope. But just them sitting down to talk is not hope.
Well, and I think part of the reason is little stupid things that they agree on that won't agree on. They both agree they want a DH. They can't agree that they want a DH. They both.
Well, that's just because they're stupid, but
that's part of it, Seth. Isn't the stupidity?
But that's not going to hold up the deal. Like if they can figure out this money thing, they'll figure out all that stuff, and you'll get 17 rounds of playoffs, which is exactly what ESPN wants. By the way, ESPN wants extra playoffs less games. Remember, the ESPN contract is for more money to air less games. Their midweek baseball game package is out, and they're doing it because they're saying nobody's watching it. That's pretty weak. If in the summer, think about this. If in the summer, ESPN is choosing not to air your games.
Well, the sport ceased to be a national sport right now. It's a regional sport in about 28 or 30 places. And so that's why they're a national network. And they'll figure out something else to run, which is pretty sad. That is.
Well, now that NBC Sports Network's out, maybe the bull riding can go on ESPN.
It's a hell of a lot cheaper to put on TV, and the numbers of people watching it aren't going to be that far apart, Seth. I mean, it's not that people
way
don't
too
care.
white.
It's not that people don't care about baseball, Seth, and you know this. People don't care about inconsequential baseball on a national basis. We care every night about our team. We don't care about somebody else's team in July. We just don't.
Yeah, I hear
you. Sports with Friends, Hall of Justice, Text Stream. Those are your 3 podcasts. Anything interesting?
They're good. Yeah, they're really good.
If you do say so yourself.
They're on fire right now. Former president of Fox Sports, Ed Gorin, this week on Sports with Friends.
Wow.
Talked about hiring John Madden. He talked about the decision to have the glowing puck. Oh, the conversation just about the glowing puck is worth the download right there. And then, and I don't care if you're right, left, center, what political stance you're in, he tells a fantastic Rupert Murdoch story that is hysterical. Ed Gorin on one of the best episodes of Sports with Friends we've had in weeks. Even though Tom Rinaldi was amazing last week, this podcast is on fire. Putting it together was a breeze. Ed Gorin is a fantastic storyteller, and he was there. He was the first American hired by Fox by Murdoch to start Fox Sports. He was there from the very, very beginning, and he saw all the incarnations. We do talk to him about streaming and, you know, what his stance is on streaming and how these broadcasts are going. And he had some really, really insightful stuff on that. It's a fantastic podcast. I don't even remember the other 2.
All right. There you go.
No, I'm just
They're
kidding.
called Text Stream, and
Text Stream is a CES, and it's an interview with one of the head executives of the company called Meta, which is the artist formerly known as Facebook. And we talk about, is Instagram harmful to kids? That's another great interview. And then for Hall of Justice, it's a guy by the name of Todd Helbing, who is the showrunner of the new CW show Superman and Lois, which had their season premiere last night. And he is coming on tonight. That is a fantastic show and a very, very underrated. I know the CW shows get maligned because they've gotten kind of soft. This one is not soft. It's a great show, Superman and Lois.
You know, Seth, I was thinking about reaching out to you because I thought that your Hall of Justice this week should have been based on Batman, because Batman debuted today, 56 years ago on ABC.
Oh, the Batman TV show.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, Batman's over 85 years. I was like, no, yeah, the Batman TV. I love the Batman TV show. I've seen every episode of the Batman TV show. I saw it in reruns when I was a kid, and I bought the Blu-ray when it came out.
He's Seth Everett. Follow him on Twitter at Seth_Everett, Sports with Friends, Hall of Justice, and Text Stream. Hope the family is safe and healthy and well, because that has not always been the case in recent weeks.
Yeah. Everybody's good.
Good. And we'll talk to you next week.
Oh, by the way, it's 14 degrees right now.
Okay.
It's not here.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll just go with that.
You know, I have to admit, I find it interesting. Usually people who live in Florida have their friends yell at them when we bring up the weather. Okay.
It's cold today here too, Seth.
No.
But I've got socks on. I've got shoes on. I mean, I'm still wearing shorts, but I mean, it's a full-on sock advisory, Seth.
You could be the president at Del Boca Vista anytime.
I'm running for it.
I mean, on the
you
West
think
Coast
I've
Florida,
never driven in a Cadillac before? I've driven in a Cadillac hundreds of times.